I just watched a comedian make fun of her cruise. I thought it was pretty funny. I mean, she exaggerated throughout, but she hit on some true points. But what really struck me were the comments. There was one that said, "Gee, I'm sorry you had to go through that." And I thought, did she really think it was that bad? Apparently she did. Another one said that her cruise felt like she was trapped in a shopping mall for 7 days and couldn't get out. And then another one said she felt like she was trapped in Walmart with all the Walmart shoppers. And I thought, my goodness, what cruise line did they sail on? And it made me think how important it is to choose the right cruise line, or you may have 7 days of misery instead of the vacation of a lifetime. So I am going to give those of you, my friends who are over 70, some tips about cruising on the right cruise line. Now, these are from my point of view, and other people may have other opinions. But I have been on 49 cruises on 18 different cruise lines, so I do have some background, and I'd like to share it with you. Hi, I'm Sandy from Sandy Over 70. Welcome to my channel. I hope you'll subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I certainly can't talk about all the cruise lines because there's so very, very many of them. And I'll also say that my taste in cruise lines has changed dramatically from when I cruised in my 20s to now when I'm cruising in my 70s. And I'm going to talk about cruising from the point of view of a 75-year-old woman. That's me. So first of all, I need to tell you what I think is the cruise line that you should avoid. And again, there are people out there who are going to disagree with me, and they're going to say they had a wonderful time. But personally, I would never recommend Carnival Cruise Line to those over 70. It just isn't designed for our age group. Now, I did try it out, and I think I was in my 20s or 30s because I wanted to see what all the hoopla was about, and it was a weekend cruise, and I did not like it at all. I mean, there were some good features. The entertainment was good. The food was okay. But, you know, things have changed in the last 50 years, and it has gotten more and more geared to being a party ship, a wildish type of party ship. That's just my opinion. But I think that you might not be happy on that cruise line. It's possible that you're going with family members. There could be 3 generations, and you're going to do everything together on the cruise. And of course, you'll have a good time just because you're with your family. But again, that would be my very last suggestion of a cruise line. The next cruise line I'm going to talk about is Royal Caribbean International, and I have been on many cruises on that cruise line. And at one point in my 40s, 50s, and even 60s, it was my favorite cruise line. But as the ships have gotten bigger and more dramatic and more geared to families, I have lost interest in that cruise line. Their largest ship coming out, the Iconic, is so glitzy, so big, and so geared to families that I don't think I would feel comfortable on it. In fact, I had a reservation and I canceled it because as I read more and more about it, I felt that my comfort level would be very low on that ship. Now, they do have smaller ships, and you might like those. But when I tried one of their older ships, one of their very older ships, I thought that it was a big disappointment. I felt that the food was not good on that smaller ship. The entertainment was poor. it seemed as though they were throwing all their money into their big glitzy new ships. So at this point, I can't wholeheartedly recommend Royal Caribbean, but it is good for multi-generations. There's something for every age level, so it could be a possibility. But for me, I don't think so. There might be one more Royal Caribbean trip in my future, but we'll see. I've had quite a few older folks tell me that they're not going to cruise because they do not want to go on one of those big ships. And that's understandable. I like big ships because I like to have lots of things to do, lots of options, but not everybody feels that way. Some people are looking for a more quiet atmosphere. And so next I'll talk about my most recent cruise, which was on American Cruise Line's Independence. This is one of their very oldest ships, and I did an entire video on it, actually several videos on it, which I will put in the description below. I'll put the links down there so you can watch it if you're interested. The ship I was on had 90 passengers. It was very small. The ship was very plain, and the passengers were elderly. Many had mobility issues, so it could be a good fit for the right person. I am not the right person. I loved the cruise along the coast of Maine, but the ship was not to my taste, basically because the entertainment was very, very minimal, and there wasn't really anything much to do on the ship. I will say the food was good. So that's a possibility for someone over 70. Next, I'm going to talk about American Queen Voyages. Now, this cruise line is one of my favorites. I've cruised with them 3 times, twice on their flagship American Queen, which is 400 passengers. There's plenty of things to do. The evening entertainment is spectacular. The food is good, and their itineraries are basically on the Mississippi and out west on the Snake and Columbia rivers. I've done the lower Mississippi and the upper Mississippi on the American Queen. I think it's a great ship for anyone over 70. It's small and personal, and yet it has many things to do, and it has very good itineraries. My trip out west, however, was on the American Empress, and I did not care for this ship quite as much. It was much older, it was smaller, 200 passengers, and although the entertainment was very good, the ship itself was not my favorite. However, it could be the perfect size for you. I'm going to mention Viking Ocean ships. Although I have not sailed on them, I would like to. And everything I have heard or read about them has been positive. They are small luxury ships, and it looks like the kind of ship I would really enjoy. But what's keeping me from it is the pricing. Very high, and I have to think very seriously about spending almost $10,000 a person to take a cruise, because with the airfare, that's what it comes to. But, if that's not an issue for you, try it. Cunard Cruise Line is another favorite of mine at this age. They have 3 ships. Queen Mary 2 is their flagship, and I believe it's next year they're launching a 4th ship called Queen Anne. Queen Mary 2 is a delightful ship. Yes, it's more formal, and if you're not wanting to dress up at all and want to be casual at all times, this might not be the ship for you. But if you like elegance and traditional cruising, you would love this cruise line. I surely did, and I highly recommend it. I would like to end by talking about mobility issues and cruises. If you think you can't go because you can't walk well. There are alternatives. First of all, some of the cruise lines, like the American Independence that I mentioned, have staff that will help you, and many people have canes and walkers and things, so you would probably do well on that cruise ship. But even on the big cruise ships, like Royal Caribbean, I see many people on scooters. And they rent these scooters from companies that you can find online. They bring the scooter to your cabin and they take it away after the cruise. And people ride all over these large cruise ships in these scooters. If that is something that would be helpful to you, do a search for scooters for cruise ships. And I think you'll be very amazed at what is available. If you have never cruised, I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful way to take a vacation. It's all inclusive, unless you want to spend lots of extra money on specialty dining and things like that, but you don't have to. It's just a relaxing, wonderful way to spend a week or even more and to see beautiful places. Give it a try. Thanks for watching and have a great day.